Fox News Alert for you. We're learning more about the wannabe suicide bomber behind the New York City subway explosion. The 27-year-old came here from Bangladesh in 2011 on a visa available to certain relatives of U.S. citizens. And Ryan Mauro is a national security analyst with the Clarion Project, and he joins us now to weigh in. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Now, speaking of families and weighs in, let's talk first about this statement that has been released via Albert Fox, who's the legal director for CARE, and he issued the statement from the family. And in the statement, it says, if we can pull it up, that they basically aren't very sorry. They say that we are heartbroken by this attack on our city today and by the allegations being made against a member of our family, but we are also outraged by the behavior of law enforcement officials during this investigation. Okay. Today we have seen and then it goes on from there, our children as young as 4 years old held out in the cold, denied as their parents were questioned or detained. And these are not the actions that we expect from our justice system, and we hope to see better in the days and weeks to come. What do you think about that statement?
How dare you? How could they possibly say something like that and then go around making it sound as if they're moderate? Those are the statements that radicals make. When a member of your family who you are responsible for raising goes out and tries to commit a terrorist attack, you apologize, you cooperate with the authorities, you don't bash the police and start spreading the same type of radical Islamic propaganda that created that terrorist incident in the first place.
It really is amazing, because I know authorities went to Brooklyn, which is where he lived. And they were going through, talking to family members, talking to neighbors. They alleged that one of the 4-year-olds was taken outside. So that's what that had to do with.
Yeah,
and they also,
like American society and the police are just so bad. They're setting the stage so that they can say, well, if he's radical, it's because American society is so awful. And if they're immigrants from Bangladesh, how ungrateful do you have to be to say something like that? We let you in here.
Tell us more about Bangladesh and immigrants coming in from Bangladesh.
Right. So through the chain migration process, which basically says you have a family member living in a country like Bangladesh, then you go to the front of the line, you come into the United States. Okay. About 140,000 people from Bangladesh have come to the United States since 2005. You look at the polling data, Bangladesh is a country where about 26% of the population will say that suicide terrorism is often justified or sometimes justified.
Wow.
So you've got to imagine that a significant portion of those people that came over here are radical, and we do not have the vetting processes in place to look for extremists. It focuses on terrorists, not extremists of the type that are popular in Bangladesh. And I heard that from a Bangladeshi religious cleric in this area who warned me years ago that all of this was going on.
And it's steadily increased. If you can take a look at those numbers right there, between 2005 and 2016, the numbers that have come in via this chain migration way to come into the country. Apparently he had an aunt that lived here.
Right, and so this is the same family.
And he made the cutoff by a couple months, from what I understand as well, because he was 20 years old at the time that he was able to come in here.
Unbelievable. But I think one of the things that you're going to see develop is, as we look at the mosque that he attended and the family's background, especially with this statement coming out, you'll probably see a connection to a supposedly non-violent extremist movement that we really should be vetting people for, because they're radical, like Tablighi Jamaat or one of these other groups that are popular in Bangladesh. And if we find that out, you're going to have a big scandal, because it first started being curtailed, the vetting was, under the Bush administration, and then stopped under the Obama administration in 2012. And
they're already talking about how he allegedly became radicalized once he was here. He learned how to make the bomb online. Does that make a difference? Because clearly, I mean, he's already made it clear that his allegiances were to ISIS.
It doesn't really matter, because there's always a starting point, and it can be just with the views that the family are espousing. The idea that the United States is this evil place that mistreats Muslims and is just this terrible place for minorities to live, and that can be the starting point, because it's a justification for jihad and demonizing the United States. You take those ideas and then you get involved in an extremist movement, and then later a terrorist group, and that's probably the process that you saw.
It is really unbelievable, and the statement from the parents, I know a lot is going to be said about that today. All right, thank you so much, Ryan. We appreciate it. We'll have you back for sure.
All right, thank you.